We talk now with the driver who sits second in NASCAR Nationwide Series points and will be behind the wheel of the number 30 Wolfpack Rentals Chevrolet for Turner Motorsports. We are talking about the legendary Jason Leffler. Top of the morning, Jason.
Hey, what's happening, man? I like the legendary part, legend in my own mind.
Well, you're a legend in some circles. I mean, those circles will vary depending on who you talk to.
Exactly.
What have you been up to, bud?
What have you been doing with yourself with no racing and a Jason Leffler? What happens?
I've just been hanging out. I've been hanging out with Charlie, and I did go to the truck race and support the truck team this weekend at Martinsville, and Ricky Carmichael ran a good race. That was fun, and just getting ready for Texas. Just pumped up about racing this weekend, and not having a weekend off here for a couple months, so I'm excited about that.
We'll talk Texas in a moment. You mentioned being at Martinsville for the Kroger 250, supporting your Turner Motorsports teammate there. Do you miss racing in the trucks? I know it's been a while since you've done it, but do you miss that?
Oh yeah, I mean it's a great series. I just on an off weekend you want to be racing something, so yeah, I'd love to have been out there. But yeah, the Camping World Truck Series is great. A lot of good competition. It's pretty hardcore racing, and the trucks are fun to drive. You can really hustle on them, beat and bang and stuff. So, yeah, maybe I'll get another shot to run one of those here pretty soon.
I know it didn't work out from a business standpoint, but I'll tell you, Jason, I'd love to see the Nationwide Series go back to Martinsville.
I would, too. I love Martinsville. I mean, there's so much history there, and it's such a unique racetrack. And, it looks easy on paper, but it's one of the hardest tracks you can go to, to get your car to go fast there and race around there. So, but yeah, it's cool. I wish the Nationwide Series would go back there, and it'd be fun to race there again.
What makes it hard for a car to go fast at Martinsville?
You got to slow down enough to go fast. You know what I mean? It's like all finesse, but at the same time, you gotta know some tricks to get around the place, and racing there's a lot of fun because you got to kind of conserve, but you can be really aggressive, and so it's a contradiction really of how you of everything. So you got to be patiently aggressive, as they say, and you got to take care of your stuff, but you got to abuse it. So that makes no sense at all, I know, but that's what makes the track so tough.
There's been a lot of conversation this week about pit road speeding penalties and everything. I'd like to get your perspective from behind the wheel. How difficult is it to keep those marks on pit road and stay within that pit road speeding tolerance that NASCAR gives you?
It's tough. I always find myself on the conservative side of it, and I work on it every week. There's a lot of time to be gained or lost on pit road, not just with the pit stops, but driver getting on pit road, getting off pit road, making the most use of his timing lines. And those Cup guys, they got it down. They have a lot of notes from track to track to tell them exactly where the timing lines are at. They choose their pit stall on where the timing lines are at, and it's tough, but it's hard to judge sometimes, and but it's all obviously it's measured electronically. So it was measured by hand or by eye, and you could cheat the system. And at the same token, if they felt like you were speeding and maybe you didn't think you were, they could get you a speeding ticket. But now it's pretty bulletproof, I think.
Do you guys practice that? I mean, how do you prepare yourself for that over a race weekend?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, I always practice coming on pit road, leaving pit road. In the Nationwide Series, it's tough because you only get one set of tires. So you got to be careful coming on pit road that you don't slide your tires early on in practice and ruin that set of tires, or you can beat your tires up pretty good too, leaving down on the apron, running as hard as you would leaving under a green flag stop. So near the end of practice, I'll run it a few times and run in really hard and run in on the pit road really hard, get an idea where the timing lines are at. Obviously, then after qualifying, we pick a pit stall. We usually pick a pit stall based on not necessarily the timing lines, but the Nationwide Series, with so many starting parks that we try to get in the middle of the starting parks, because then you're going to have it clean in and clean out, later on in the race. But obviously the Cup Series, everybody pit road's a lot more busier than it is in the Nationwide Series, so they tend to pick it on the timing lines, But yeah, you just practice it and pay attention. You just got to pay attention to the details on everything, and that seems to be the advantage,
Speaking about pit road from a broader perspective, I've always been fascinated to watch you guys go around the racetrack, whether it be at Martinsville, you're going, 100, 110 miles an hour, or in the case of Texas, you're clipping off speeds there, corner entry speeds over 200 miles an hour. It's always fascinated me to watch you guys when you're coming up for a pit stop. You'll obviously throw your right arm and start waving so the guy behind you knows that you're coming in, or the gal behind you, whomever it may be. But you get that car woe down and you can hit that mark. And we're talking about the times that you don't get the speeding penalty. Talk about and describe to us, if you will, how hard it is to get a car woe down from 200, 180, 190 miles an hour down to, say, 55 miles an hour and creep down pit road for what must seem like an eternity. Now, we're talking green flag pit stops, obviously.
Yeah, I mean, it's tough. It's one of the harder parts of racing. I mean, you're running really hard. Maybe 40 or 50 laps, so, just constantly. And then you come down pit road, your tires are wore out. The track's dirty down low. And sometimes the mark you find in practice where you come in, you can't get to that mark because of the tires are so far gone and it's dirty and you're sliding getting in. So, I mean, it's a difficult part of driving a race car. And the thing about it, there is a lot of time to be gained or lost doing it improperly or properly, So, and at the same time, if you do it too fast, then you obviously you get your penalty, and that could basically ruin your whole race if it's at the wrong time of the race,
Last question on this subject before we talk about Texas. Are you somebody that would like to see those speeds posted in real time somewhere?
I think it would be cool. I think it would be cool if they could post it for the crew chiefs. I think it would help the drivers. It would help them through the course of the race, how far they can push it. And even if they made it available to the fans, I think that would even be more important. I think the fans would get a better understanding, and not necessarily the fans at the racetrack, but, on TV. I think there's probably enough technology to do that, and I think it would make the pit stops and make racing more exciting.
All right, let's talk about Texas Motor Speedway. Under the lights there on Friday, first of all, how's that going to impact things?
Yeah, I mean, I've run there a couple times in the nut lights in the truck series, and obviously Texas is a hot, slick place in the middle of the day, and then as it cools down, it gets quite a bit of grip. So it's going to change our setups quite a bit. It's going to change our thinking, but I think the schedule is going to be great. Texas is awesome under the lights. Everybody's bottoming out, and you're seeing sparks fly and stuff, and cars, it's fast enough, and then you put it under the lights, and they look even faster. So it's definitely going to be a change, but we do have a practice Thursday night, late at night, so that's kind of cool. We'll get some time on the track when we race. So looking forward to it. I like the schedule. It's almost, we come in and practice Friday morning, qualify, and race Friday. So, and then we have that practice Thursday, basically a test day. So there's plenty of track time to try to learn this new car.
Now, one of the things that Texas Motor Speedway does, and since you've not raced at night there, you probably haven't experienced this yet, but let me just tell you something, son. When the caution flag comes out, you definitely know it at Texas if you're racing at night. They've got caution lights built into the safer barrier in the turns. They've got the light poles that face the grandstands that flash yellow with strobe lights and all this stuff. There is no doubt in anybody's mind when the caution flag comes out at night at Texas Motor Speedway.
Yeah, I mean, they're all over the place. The caution lights up like a dance floor, but definitely know there's a caution. So, and that's a good place to have all that because you're going so fast. So the sooner you know there's a caution, the better off you are.
Yeah, you're right. We know Texas is lightning fast. What's your anticipation of this new race car there at Texas Motor Speedway for the first time?
I mean, I think it's going to be fast. The anticipation is going to be we're probably going to fight the same things we fought everywhere else. We're just trying to get the car tightened up and get it to where, it seems like we get it pretty good by ourselves, but you get in traffic, you get loose. So that's just a work in progress. But I think it's going to be great. I mean, it's exciting, and look forward to driving that thing every week. It's cool to have everything new and just try to figure out what makes it work.
I would say that's probably one of the more challenging places to get a car dialed into. You can name a list of tracks to do that because there's so many variables. You've got the temperature thing. You got that track settling issue over the tunnel in turns 1 and 2. Has that issue continued to provide challenges, and are those challenges increasing when you go through 1 and 2 there at Texas?
Yeah, I mean, it seems like every year you go back, that bump gets a little worse, and then they'll go through a period, they'll fix it, and then from there on out it gets worse again. But yeah, I mean, it's challenging. I like it. I mean, racetracks with character are great, especially bumps and things like that, patches, all that. It makes you have to develop a technique to get through that. You have to develop a technique to make your car be able to get through that, setup wise. So yeah, it's pretty cool. I mean, Texas to me is one of my favorite tracks. I enjoy it. The promotion's awesome there. They always have a great crowd, and there's these 3 or 4 groups of racing, so it's a lot of fun.
You talk about developing a technique to get to the corners and get over the bump and all that. How long does it take you to develop that technique?
Well, I mean, you have a general idea when you show up there, but then, like we have no idea what the track conditions are going to be like, so you kind of tune on that as the weekend goes on, and usually, sometimes it takes you halfway through the race before you figure it out. Sometimes you catch it early, and sometimes it takes a while, but it's tough, and that goes for every racetrack. I mean, every racetrack changes when you go back, so it's pretty cool. That's one of the challenges of driving a race car that makes it fun.
Well, I know that you're happy that you're going to be back behind the wheel of a race car, and you got a nice little flow here now, Jason, where you're going to be pretty much out there every week, and I know that makes you pretty happy.
Yeah, I love racing, so look forward to getting back behind the wheel of that Great Clips car at Talladega, and be back in the AccuDoc car here in a few weeks. So we got some great racetracks coming up with a little. We'll have some momentum as far as just continuous races, and it should be fun. So looking forward to it. And guys are doing a great job at Turner Motorsports. We're having a pretty good year. We're sitting good in the points, and good pit stops, good equipment. Everything's kind of flowing right along. So want to take advantage of it.
This week it's the number 30 Wolfpack Rentals Chevrolet for Turner Motorsports. Jason Leffler will be in the O'Reilly Auto Parts 300 coming up Friday night. You can hear it live here on Sirius NASCAR Radio Channel 128. All the best to you, pal. Good luck in Texas. We'll talk to you next Wednesday.
All right, guys. Take care.